about planning and focus. And you want to tune into this if you're a high achiever. You're one of those people who says yes to a lot of things, you do a lot of things, you have a lot of responsibilities. So maybe you're a business owner, maybe you have a family, maybe you volunteer within the community, and it kind of feels like you're spinning all the plates. It kind of feels like you're saying yes to everything, you feel obligations, and it feels like a lot. I'm just going to check my audio, make sure we're good here. All right, cool. If you're tuning in on Instagram or if you're tuning in live on Facebook, go ahead and comment below. Let me know that you're here. If you're watching the replay, comment #replay. I want to know that you're here as well. My name's Cami. I am an intuitive life and business coach for perfectionist high achievers. And I really help high achievers calm down, chill, start to take care of themselves, learn how to prioritize, learn how to follow through on things instead of getting stuck in overwhelm. So if this is you, you want to tune in, I'm going to walk you through my 12-step process for focus and planning. And I also want to say this works as well if you end up having a neurodivergent brain, you end up being a little bit distractible, or if you end up being one of those creative types. I find myself in the creative category. So I have a degree in molecular cell biology. I've studied a lot. I've sat down, I've gotten things done. But I found that as I've gotten older and as I've become an entrepreneur, like I've really created this life that I love. And I've really created a lot of space for myself. And one of the skills that I've been working on was being able to actually sit down, plan something, and execute something. Because remember, there's two things that are going to get in the way of you making more money in your business and you having more success in your business. The first thing is your mindset, right? If you're getting stuck in overwhelm, if you're getting stuck in confusion, if you're getting stuck in failure, all of those things are going to block your progress of being able to move forward. But the other thing is, if you don't have the appropriate amount of downtime, of self-care, of being able to hang out with your family, disconnect from your business, and connect with friends and loved ones, like if you're not able to enjoy your life, ultimately you will not be sustainable in your business. So I also want you to think about this in a way that really affects your personal life as well. It's not just about doing all the things, but it's about slowing down and prioritizing the things that you think are really important for you in this season of time. So here's what I want you to do. You can pull out a piece of paper, you can pull out your journal, you can pull out your agenda if you want to sit down and do your planning. This is the prep for the planning. So what I'd like you to do is if you are going to use this as the prep for your planning, set aside 90 minutes to do your planning. But before we begin, we have to talk about the nervous system and focus. So what I see a lot of times is people, especially in the beginning of the year, they get really hyped up. They get really excited for their goal. And they really want to sit down and plan for hours and hours and hours. And they're kind of like on this like sugar high, is what I would call it, like the sugar high. And the way I like to approach planning is more calm. Is more grounded. So it may not be as exciting, but the reason we do this is because if we're excited and we are activated, we don't actually have access to the frontal lobe, which is the part of ourselves, part of our brain that makes decisions, that plans things, right? If we're activated and we're excited, we're kind of activating that stress response in our body. And typically what will happen is we'll want to overcome that stress response with some distractions. So we'll try to sit down and we'll be like, well, I need a snack, or, oh, I need some coffee, or, oh, I need to turn the air conditioning up or down, or let me just check TikTok really quickly. And we'll kind of like get in this distracted mode if we're not calm. So what I want you to think about as you set the space, this is step number 1 of my 12-step process of planning. Set your time and space for 90 minutes. Okay, we talked about that. Number 2, you want to make sure your body is fueled. So before you do your planning, consider thinking about, when is my mind the sharpest? When am I already most focused, right? You may be somebody who works better at night or in the evenings. You may be somebody who works better like after breakfast time, like your time in the morning. So I want you to think about, okay, my body is fueled. I have enough water. I've done my morning walk or my exercise, and now I'm ready to plan for this next 90 minutes. And then the other thing I really like to do is have some music or what I would call vibes. Okay. Now, all of us have positive and negative associations with certain places. So, for example, I get my planning done really well when I go to this certain coffee shop. I know that when I go there, I typically give myself about 2 hours with my computer, with my coffee. I got my hat on and I am just focused. I'm not talking to anybody. I'm not engaging. I'm just focused on my task at hand. And so if you know that there's also a place where you can go, either it's in your physical home, in your office with the door shut, or if it's a place that you travel to, then plan that. Then the next thing I talk about is the vibes. So the vibes can be, right, like making sure you have your snacks, your water, your coffee, like making sure you have what you need there. Maybe you need your chapstick, right? We set the space for this, but we don't let it distract us. We just know these are the things I'd like to have in order for me to stay focused. Maybe you light a candle, maybe you have your incense. And then the one thing that I think is scientifically proven and really, really helps is to have headphones in. And I use these Bose headphones. They're not noise canceling, but you could get some noise canceling ones. And I like to listen to binaural beats or what's called 8D audio. Binaural beats or 8D audio. These are one of the two things that you can look up. I go on Spotify and look up 8D audio. And what happens is the audio goes back and forth in your head, like kind of like bouncing in your brain. And it really helps the brain to focus. So I listen to 8D audio, or I listen to what's called focus music. You can go on YouTube and search focus music. You can go on Insight Timer and search focus music. And typically what you're looking for is binaural beats. And the purpose here is to get us into that focused alpha brainwave state where we're chill, we're calm, but we're focused, and we're in that flow state, we're working, okay? So that is number 2. We're like setting the vibe, making sure that the body is comfortable, it has what it needs. And then step number 3, when we're setting ourselves up for that 90-minute time block of working, of focus, I actually allow myself 20 minutes, like that first 20 minutes for resistance. So then I'm not like, oh my gosh, I'm judging myself. Why haven't I gotten started yet? I'm just like, okay, this first 20 minutes is like me getting settled in. It's like me getting my stuff together. It's me sitting here going, I don't really want to do this. It's me being like, oh, I'm so overwhelmed. There's so many things to do. It's allowing myself to sit with all the thoughts and feelings that are going to come up in my body as I sit down to plan. So instead of stressing myself out even more, I realize I've already baked this time in. Right? If I know the first 20 minutes is going to be kind of tricky, kind of tough, I'm going to be fighting myself, I'm going to be resisting myself, that's okay. That's part of the process, right? So you bake in that 20 minutes of time for the resistance that comes up. And typically what I'm doing during this time, I've got my music in, I'll close my eyes, I'll do some deep breaths, and I'll literally just say to myself, you can do this. You've got this. Just get started. Just put pen to paper. I know you can do this. You're just going to start by listing things out. Like, I know you can do this, right? And I kind of like get myself, talk to that inner child or that little teenager that's feeling resistance. And I was just like, you can do this. Just get started. So after that, step number 4 is you actually want to make sure you don't have any distractions. So that's also helpful for the headphones, right? So you're not hearing anything. You also want to be in a space, either in a coffee shop or in your office with minimal distractions, or you might be co-working with somebody. I like to do this with friends or colleagues. We'll co-work together. We're both there. We put our headphones on. We set our time and we're like, don't talk to me. I'm doing this for the next hour. Okay. But you want to make sure those distractions are minimized. And the main one that we all know is social media. So what's going to happen when your brain starts to get stuck is it is going to want to feel good. It's not going to want to feel the resistance. It's going to want to get a quick dopamine hit, and it's going to want to run off and just watch a quick TikTok video, watch a quick YouTube video, watch a quick story or reel. And so what I want you to do, these are the 2 things you can do with your phone. So I like to use my phone for my music. So my music's already playing through my phone. But then the next thing I like to do to help me not pick up my phone is I'll create some content on my phone. So the way that you can listen to music and record video at the same time is you can actually go into your camera, scroll over to time-lapse video, And then I have that time-lapse video recording me while I'm listening to my music, while I'm typing on my computer, or while I'm journaling, writing things down, planning. And it also feels like this like strange sense of like being watched, like having this accountability. So I like to do that to help me stay off of social media, to help me stay off of distractions. Now, let's say you accidentally do pick up your phone and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm on TikTok. I'm on TikTok. What happened? How did I get here? Right? Like that urge will set in and it will happen. I want you to just say, it's okay, get refocused. Or what I like to do is if you're struggling with the 90-minute time block, I use another technique called Pomodoro technique, where you set a timer. You can actually find free timers as apps or online. Pomodoro, Pomodoro. It has your timer go off every 20 minutes. So you do 20 minutes of focused work, 5 minutes of shake and break. And I call it shake and break because what I like to do is get up and go outside, shake my body, get some sun on my body, stand up, listen to a music, like actually shake it out. I don't use that time to go on my phone. I use that time to move my body, shake it out, take a couple deep breaths, take a sip of my coffee, and then I go right back to it for another 20 minutes. So if you notice that you're getting distracted and you're wanting to go on your phone, then I would institute the Pomodoro technique where you give yourself 20-minute work periods, 5-minute break periods. So you know, okay, put your phone down. You've only got to work for 10 more minutes, then you could take a break. Okay. So I find that to be a really good thing. All right, we already talked about the 8D audio, but I'll say it again. This is step number 5. Listen to focus music like 8D audio or Insight Timer binaural beats. Number 6. Okay, and this is when we actually get into the planning. So right behind me, I have a whiteboard. For those of you who are listening to the audio, you can't really see my whiteboard, so you're not missing out on anything. But I have 2 sides to this board, and the first thing I do is brain dump. Okay, if you're not familiar with brain dumping, you're just going to brain dump all the things that are in your head right now, from your personal life, from your business life, that are to-dos. And it might be like, do your laundry, pick up the kids from school, write a Facebook post, send an email, follow up with this client, right? So you're going to put everything on the paper without even categorizing it. So you just let it all listed out. Now, as you start to get really good at this, I like to have another side of the paper called loop list. Loop list is closing the loop on things that maybe were due for quite some time. Or the loop list is also like future things that are coming up. So it might be like car insurance, like, oh, I need to make sure I pay that. Or it might be like, oh, I have to think about opening that bank account I forgot about. So the loop list is something that you are able to put off longer, but you just want to get it out of your brain. And then we actually will schedule in times during the week to do one thing off of your loop list. And the concept of loop list came from one of my coaches when I went to Bali. And it's essentially saying all of these things that we carry around in our brain is draining our energy. All of these things that are left undone that we're like, I need to do that, I need to do that. And you keep going to bed being like, I need to do that, I can't forget to do that. The reason we put it on the loop list is so that we can let it go from our brain. And then we can let it go from our brain. We can be focused and present with our family, with our friends, in our business, with our clients. Like we can just be present. And then when we go to bed at night, we can be calm and at ease because we know that everything that needs to get done is already taken care of somewhere. It's already on a list. It's already on our brain dump. We already know it's there. So we're not worried about forgetting it. I see a lot of times where my clients spend a lot of time and energy is they wake up again and they reactivate their brain again and they have to go through this list of things again, and trying to hold all that information in your brain definitely gets exhausting. Okay. So we're going to start with brain dump. Allow yourself to brain dump all the personal things, all the business things that come up. And then as you have other things that are maybe a little bit longer, or they're just some thoughts that you want to do in the future, you'll put that on the loop list, which will be either on a different sheet of paper, on the reverse side of the paper. And these are things that are like, you have a little bit more time, they're not as pressing, but you want to remember that this is something that you want to do in the future. Okay. All right. Number 7. Now that you have all your things brain dumped out on the paper, and this might take 15 minutes, this might take 30 minutes. Don't like just write until you can't remember anything else, like to write down, right? Like write until you feel like, okay, this feels like enough for now. Right? Because the more often you do this, right? And I teach doing this monthly, like look at your whole entire month, every month when the month starts, look at it monthly, and then you're going to revisit it weekly, right? You're going to look at it monthly, then you're going to revisit it weekly. And so you'll do this every single month and then revisit it weekly. So you don't need to like worry about getting it perfect because you're going to revisit it again. All right, next, number 7. All right, so number 7, as we're planning and focusing, is you're going to take a highlighter and you're going to grab that highlighter and you're going to start to categorize these things. So usually I like to have 7 highlighters, different colors. And the first thing on the category that I'm looking for on this list, on this brain dump, is income producing activities. So when I'm thinking, what is it that I need to get done today or this week? I'm looking for income producing activities. So what does that mean? I work with mostly business owners, and income producing activities is any sales, marketing, relationship follow-ups, or any client delivery. So remember, in order to build a great business, have a strong referral base, you have to deliver to your current clients. So I look like, is there a client waiting for an email back from me? Is there something I can send my client to support them and help them? Right. So I'm thinking about my clients. Then I'm also looking at, are there any invoices that I need to send out? Are there any proposals that need to be sent out? Are there any emails or marketing posts, like social media posts that need to be sent out? And I'm highlighting all of those. Because our sales, our marketing, our client delivery, our relationship building, continuing to hold those connections are what's most important in our business. It needs to be income producing activities, which is client focused, which is people focused, which is making sure that you're connecting with people. The reason I bring this up is because what's going to happen when you're starting to get overwhelmed is you might have these big projects like I need to redo my entire website. I need to transfer my email platform to another email platform. And I'm saying this as an example of these have been things that have been on my mind for the past year. And I've been thinking about it and I'm like, you know what? No, I've got to stay focused on client delivery. I've got to stay focused on sales and marketing, and these other projects like revamping my website, that's going to go on the loop list for later. Okay, this is how we start to prioritize. Not everything is an emergency. And this is why a lot of my high achieving perfectionists get stuck, is because they think everything is an emergency. And I want to bring you back to the very, very simple basics of your business, which is it going to help me create a client today? Is it going to help me connect to a new client today? Right? Because revamping a website doesn't actually help you connect to a new client today. I'd rather you go out for lunch or out for coffee with a past client, with a colleague, with a current client, with somebody in your network, because that is actually more valuable relationship building versus spending 5 hours behind a computer screen, not interacting with people. Okay? So you're going to brain dump, use your highlighter to categorize. You're going to start with income producing activities. You want to highlight those first. High level, this is what I need to be working on. Next, you can put like, what are the next priorities? If there's a deadline, right? If you're like, oh, there's something coming up in 2 weeks, I need to make sure I get my marketing materials out for this event, then you want to put that on your next follow-up, right? Like anything that has a deadline, you'll definitely make sure that that gets highlighted and you're looking for things that are happening during this month or during the next few weeks. And you can categorize those colors. Like if you have 5 to 7 different highlighters, you can categorize those colors to line up with each of those categories, right? So you might have business or income producing activities. Then you might have networking events that you're highlighting. This is when those networking events are. Then you might have something that is like your sales and marketing. Then you might have personal time. Then you might have exercise time. So like you're actually highlighting all these things. Okay, number 8. Now we want to look at how long each of these tasks takes. So let's say you're going to write an email, a marketing email. You want to consider how long would this take? And it might be 30 minutes, it might be an hour. And then you might say, okay, social media post, how long will this take? Maybe it's 15 minutes. Maybe it's quick. Maybe it's copy and paste from something else. So you want to actually write down beside your tasks how long it will take you to do it. This is also going to help you prioritize your time, because I think a lot of times what happens is when we have big projects, we feel like we don't have enough time to get it done. We keep putting it off versus social media, for example. I see a lot of my clients get very dramatic about social media. All it takes usually is about 15 minutes. Take a selfie, write a caption, do an introduction post, do a quick 3-second reel, put some text over it, say, reach out to me today. Like it actually ends up being very simple when we stop wasting time being dramatic about it. All right. So number 8, you're going to write down how much time each task will take. Number 9, I already talked about this, but this is a reminder, write down any deadlines or due dates. This is when you're like, okay, this is actually due this day, or this event is coming up, or this person's waiting on an email from me. This is when you actually write any hard deadlines and dates down. Now, I want to give you a caveat here, because most of us, when we get an email, we feel dramatic about getting back to the person. And we're like, I need to get back to them right away. I want you to decide how long your email reply is. And you decide, and I have a colleague who has a really great email autoresponder. And it essentially says, hey, we are growing our brand. We have multiple offerings. And if it's an emergency, call this phone number. And it's basically her assistant. And so she has that autoresponder basically saying like, hey, I may not get back to you right away. I may not get back to you at all, or I may not get back to you for a week. Like it gives her that space to understand what's a priority and what's not a priority. Same thing with social media, comments, DMs. You don't actually have to get back to them right away unless that is one of your dedicated strategies for building your business. Okay, so this will be different for everyone. All right, now number 10. This is when we actually put the things on our list. So remember, we have our brain dump list. We've categorized these to say, these are my income producing activities. These are the things that need to get done by such and such date. And this is how long each of these will take. And then we have our other list, which is called our loop list. This is things that we can put off into the future and say, I'd like to get it done, but it's not necessary, but I want to put it here so I remember. And I want to put it here so like when I have some free time, some spare time, some space, I can put it onto my calendar. So this is the most important thing in terms of the follow through. You want to actually put them on your calendar. And what I use, some people love paper calendars, agendas. I use both, but I've found since my business has grown into a 6-figure business, my phone is always with me. So I use my iCalendar, right? My iCal Apple Calendar that's on my phone for any personal things. And I actually will share that calendar with my husband so we know like this is what's going on, right? Then I use my Google Calendar in my Acuity scheduler. Acuity is the scheduling platform that I use for my client calls, and I have them all integrated and linked together. But if I book anything with anyone, like if I book a coffee date in with a colleague, I add it to my Google Calendar and I send them an email to their Google Calendar so that we remember that we booked it, and then we can confirm with one another the night before or 2 hours before we go driving across town and we realize somebody forgot it. Okay. This is really the skill that you need to learn as you become a 6-figure earner, as you're wanting to build $1 million business, is scheduling these things in and having really clear communication and boundaries around these things. So I put them in my calendar with the time slot that it takes. Right? So again, if you're wanting to do focused work on sales and marketing, or you're wanting to do focused work on reach outs or some administration work, you give yourself that 90-minute time block or that 1-hour time block, however long it takes. You do the same things that we do here in terms of making sure you're set up, your body is fueled, you've got your good music on, you're focused, there's no distractions, and you get those big projects done. And then the little things, we take out the drama, right? It doesn't actually take that long to post on social media. It literally takes 10 minutes. And the less drama you have about it, the less time it takes. The more drama you have about it, the more time it takes. So this is what I do is I help my clients. We schedule it in and then we coach on any drama that comes up. And what I find is my clients get so much better at following through and executing on the plan because we stop being so dramatic and having so many thoughts of overwhelm through this process and through weekly coaching. All right, so you're going to put them on your actual calendar, the calendar that you will see daily. You don't just want to write it in your agenda once and then have that paper agenda disappear. It needs to be a part of your daily structure. Another thing that I noticed when I was getting really booked, right? Like fully booked with clients, and this happens a lot, and this is what I coach my clients on too, is you're going to have to learn to have more capacity for more clients, more deliverables, and more boundaries. So if you're noticing you're getting full with clients and you don't have the emotional capacity or the energy or the space, you've got to start telling people, yes, absolutely, I can onboard you. You can pay me now, but you're not going to be able to start until 4 weeks from now. So you're going to also have to learn how to onboard clients, but to take care of yourself and put those clients into the future. This is one of the skills that we learn. But here, what's also important is to make sure that you are scheduling in your self-care. Do you want to go to church? Do you want to meditate? Do you want to schedule in your workouts? Do you want to schedule in a hard stop for when my day is done and then I have 2 hours without the phone that I spend time with the family, spend time with the kids? Okay, so we have to set boundaries here too. And this is why you put everything on your calendar. And so at the beginning of the day, I'll do my morning routine. And then as I'm doing my morning routine, I check my calendar just to check in because I don't expect my brain to remember what day it is. I don't expect my brain to remember what we're doing today. I always just go to sleep, empty my brain, and then I wake up with a new brain with a new day. So I check my calendar sometimes before bed, and then I also check it again when I wake up just to make sure I know what's happening this day. So that's why I put it on my phone and on the calendar that I'm going to see each day. All right. Now, number 11 and number 12. Remember, everything is not due this week. And this is the number one thing that I have to teach my clients is as a high achieving perfectionist, like we have this thing, like we love to-do lists. We love checking things off those lists. But also what I find is my high achievers have high levels of anxiety and they never feel like they're doing enough. And remember, the skill that we need to develop is not to get everything done in one day because it's actually impossible. The skill that we need to develop is to be able to go to bed, to decompress, to unwind, to meditate or drink tea or read your favorite book, to tell yourself, I've done enough for today. Everything is fine. I am safe. I'm okay. And to have a system on the other side of tomorrow that you know you have that list and that you know you can put your next things on the next day and your next things on the next week. And this is how you live your life. You don't live it out of reaction. You don't live it out of everything's an emergency. And then you also don't live it by saying yes to everything that pops up. Okay, so you need to get really good at everything is not due this week. We prioritize it. We do the things we say we're going to do. Then at the end of the day, we say we've done enough. And then we decompress. We spend time with family. We do the things that allow our body to calm down. We get really good sleep. Then we wake up and focus on that list again. And remember, you have your loop list, and your loop list is that ongoing list of things where you're like, pay the car insurance, get the car washed, like things that aren't necessarily urgent, but you want to remember to schedule them in. And then what you can do is, what I like to do is stack my week. So I want to get the most of the stuff done at the beginning of the week. And then by the time Thursday, Friday comes, I have some extra space. I get the car washed. I clean the house, right? Like I do those things when I have some more spaciousness and I've already done my income producing activities. Okay. All right. And then, like I said, number 12, the skill, number 12 of actually planning and focusing is when you go to bed at night, you tell yourself you've done enough. So one of the practices I really like, I do it for myself, I teach my clients how to do it, is you go to bed and you journal, what am I proud of today? What did I do today? And you actually write down everything. You're like, I woke up, I drank coffee, I got my workout in, I went on a walk, took the dogs for a walk, took the dog to the vet, then I worked with my clients, then I sent 2 emails, then I made 2 Facebook posts, then I made dinner, then I spent time with the kids. And when you actually list it all out, you will see that you have executed a lot of things. You have done a lot, you have done enough. So I always go to bed feeling proud on purpose. And this is regardless of if you've gotten the result yet, right? So as I'm teaching my business owners to get to 6 figures, remember, you might only sign 5 or 6 clients in a month. You might only sign 20 clients in a month. So you got to remember that you're not going to have every single day bookings on bookings on bookings. You're not going to have every single day where you have somebody responding to you in your emails or your DMs. So you've got to hold this faith that I'm doing enough. I have an action plan. I'm executing the action plan. And what's most important for me is for me to live a human life, to have fun, to decompress, to go to my yoga class, to spend time with family, to have long walks on the weekend, to take my dogs out, like whatever it is that fills you back up. This is a priority. Just because you can fit things on your list doesn't mean it's sustainable. And I also teach this because a lot of my clients are spinning a lot of plates. They're getting close to burnout. They're feeling like they're not able to give 100% to everything. And I say, yeah, exactly. We want you to give 80%. You can't actually give 100% to everything, right? If you have 6 responsibilities, that's 600%. It's impossible. So what we do is we decide these are my priorities. Then we execute those priorities and we continue to move forward with that. And then the way that you get better at creating results in your business is you evaluate. So tomorrow I'll be teaching you about evaluation. I'll be teaching you how to actually execute and evaluate and why it's so important. And then on Thursday, I'm going to open up for 2 hours of open coaching. So if you are here and you want to get further coaching, you want to get more information, you want to get more inspiration, you want to have these processes nailed, make sure that you're on my email list. Send me a direct message right here and I'll add you to my email list. We are continuing the comeback challenge this week. So I want you to take this, use this as your planning process, use it once a week and once a month. I like to do it at the beginning of the month. Then I also like to do it once a week. Some people will do this on Monday. For me, my Mondays are already fairly booked with clients. So I actually like to do this on Fridays, or I like to do this on Sundays. So for you, you get to decide what fits into your calendar. But for me, I find that I like to have a little more spaciousness when I'm planning. And when I'm creating my calendar, I'm calendaring client days, and then I have planning days. So that is something that I can help you with as well. And if you want more support on this, I am a life and business coach. This is what I do. I work with my clients for 6 months at a time. Whether you're wanting to reach a 6-figure business, $1 million business, or beyond, I can help you. So your next step here is to book a free consultation with me. You can head to my website, camikennedy.vip. That'll take you directly to my booking link. And during the consultation, we do 3 things. So number 1, I'm going to walk you through a life assessment. Where are you at? What's going on in your life? Let's look at it holistically. Number 2, we're going to talk about all the challenges, like what is going on that's causing challenge. And then we're going to talk about goals. And I'm going to break down exactly, here's the step-by-step, here's how to get to those goals. So the value of the consultation call is you get to bring all your thoughts, all of your overwhelm, any confusion, any like fires that you're trying to put out right now, you bring all of it to the call. I'm going to help you calm down and prioritize and focus on the things that are really going to move the needle, the things that are actually going to help you to achieve your goals. And at the end of the call, if you feel like it's a good fit to work together, we can talk about that. But the value of the free consultation is simply that you get clear, you get focused, and then you know exactly what to do next. So head over to my website or send me a direct message, camikennedy.vip, book a free consultation call, and join me here tomorrow and the next day as we continue the Comeback Week Challenge. All right, bye everyone.